Good evening, friends, and welcome to this press conference. We have with us the Honorable Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Shri Arun Jaitley ji. He is here to address you on some important issues. I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. On the dais are Finance Secretary Shri Ashok Lavasa ji, Secretary Revenue Dr. Hasmukh Adhia ji, Secretary Deepam Shri Neeraj Kumar Gupta ji, Secretary DEA Shri Subhash Chandra Garg ji, Secretary DFS Shri Rajiv Kumar ji, and Chief Economic Advisor Dr. Arvind Subramanian. I extend a warm welcome to all of them. Friends, first the Finance Minister will address you. Afterwards there will be a presentation by the Finance Secretary, Secretary DEA and Secretary DFS. Thereafterwards, we'll take some questions. As usual, my request to you is please follow the points of order. When you want to ask questions, raise the placards. I will call one by one. And a gentle request to keep your mobiles on a switch off or silent mode. Please also restrict your questions on the subject matter of the press conference only. Over to the Honorable Finance Minister.
Friends, our apologies for being a little late. There is a detailed presentation being made to you. The delay was because of some correction being made to the presentation. पिछले महीने जब मैं आप लोगों से मिला था, विशेष रूप से जब फर्स्ट क्वार्टर के जीडीपी डेटा के परिणाम आए थे, तो एक प्रश्न के उत्तर में मैंने कहा कि जो भी चुनौती चैलेंजेस देश की इकोनॉमी के सामने आते हैं, उनके प्रति रिस्पांस क्या होगा सरकार का, उसके लिए हम तैयार रहेंगे. We will appropriately respond to the situations as they develop. पिछले कुछ सप्ताहों में अर्थव्यवस्था के संबंध में काफी विश्लेषण सरकार के भीतर हुआ. वित्त मंत्रालय की माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के साथ भी डिटेल मीटिंग्स हुई. पिछले 3 वर्षों से लगातार हिंदुस्तान दुनिया की सबसे तेजी से बढ़ने वाली बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था रही है, और हम लोगों का उद्देश्य यह है कि एक जो हाई ग्रोथ इकोनॉमी हिंदुस्तान बना है, वो स्थिति हम लोगों की कायम रहे. स्वाभाविक है कि जब बड़े परिवर्तन और स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स आते हैं, तो कुछ सीमित समय के लिए उसके परिणाम भी होते हैं, लेकिन मीडियम टर्म में, लॉन्ग टर्म में उनके लाभ बहुत अधिक रहते हैं. और इस पूरे विश्लेषण के बाद ये स्पष्ट था कि सरकार के दृष्टिकोण में कि देश की अर्थव्यवस्था का जो बुनियादी ढांचा है आज भी बहुत मजबूत है. देयर आर स्ट्रांग मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक फंडामेंटल्स, और कहां कहां उसको और बूस्ट करने की आवश्यकता है, इसके संबंध में देश की जो आर्थिक क्षमता है उसके अनुकूल क्या मार्ग हो सकता है, वो मार्ग भी हम लोगों ने इसमें कुछ तय किया है. ये एक डिटेल्ड प्रेजेंटेशन है, आपको दी जाएगी, और इस प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद जो भी आप लोगों की क्वेरीज होंगी, उस प्रेजेंटेशन में विश्लेषण भी है और आगे का रास्ता भी है। उसके संबंध में जो भी आपकी जिज्ञासा होगी, जो भी क्वेश्चंस होंगे, उसको हम लोग पूरा करने की प्रयास करेंगे। पहले सेक्रेटरी इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स श्री सुभाष गर्ग इस प्रेजेंटेशन को आरंभ करेंगे। प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के बाद उनको गिविंग अ कॉपी ड्राइव के माध्यम से, ताकि आपके रिकॉर्ड के लिए वो सेफ रहे।
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I begin the presentation by taking stock of the Indian economy, its fundamentals, and the progress made. As you all know, I think that's quite convincing that the macroeconomic fundamentals of the economy continue to be extremely strong. And we've been able to build up a very rapid growth story so far. This is what will bring out on some of these macroeconomic fundamental parameters. Look at the inflation numbers. The inflation numbers from 2014 onwards have consistently come down. These are sub-5 levels or 5% level in last 3 years on an average. Now, in fact, for last 1 year, we are down to less than 2%. And this year also, we were expecting that we will not cross 4% and we'll end up at about 3.5% on an average. So very consistent low inflation story is what India is defined by these days. Our current account deficits is now very well known. For last many years have been very low. Globally, you define 2% as the level at which you are absolutely safe in terms of your current account deficits. India has been able to bring it to less than 2.5 to 2%. And last year we actually ended up with less than 0.7%. So very low level of current account. There is a small blip in the first quarter, but as you go along for the rest of the year, this year would also turn out to be something very certainly less than 2%. The trust in the Indian economy in terms of flows in equity and debt, and also the big flows in terms of the foreign debt investment is what is resulting into build-up of the foreign reserves. We've crossed recently $400 billion reserves. This government in last 3 years has built up additional $100 billion reserves. A very strong vote of confidence in the Indian economy as far as the build-up of reserves is concerned. We have now reserves which are in excess of a US requirement, so very fundamentally secure position as far as the external account is concerned. Fiscal consolidation story is also as credible and extremely good. This government took over at a time when the fiscal deficit was in excess of 4.5%. It has been consistently been brought down. From bringing it to 4.1 now, finally for this year, we have fiscal deficit target of 3.2%. As of now, the government continues to work to maintain that the fiscal deficit is achieved this year. We will take a final review around December, but the government's commitment is to continue to see that we continue on this glide path of maintaining fiscal deficit to the low levels. The target is 3%, so soon we would like to reach to that level as well. The GDP growth story has attracted a lot of attention in media these days, thanks to what happened in last 2 quarters. especially the blip in this first quarter of this current year, when the GDP went down to 5.7%. But if you look at the long-term story, the GDP in last 3 years has averaged at 7.5%. It exceeded 8% in 1 year, average 7.5%. This year, despite this blip, now this is very clear. I think we are all convinced that this has bottomed out. You've heard and seen number of indicators this year, whether you take IIP, whether you take core index, or you take the automobiles, commercial vehicles, even hotel occupancy, the average rate, all indicators point out that the economy is turning around. And this quarter numbers, when they come, certainly would be something to convince, I think, all of us that we are back on to a path which is towards this strong growth path. Very recently, IMF put out a very long-term forecast on Indian economy, and IMF's convincing and very well considered forecast is that Indian economy will soon achieve the growth of over 8%, and that would be not only for 1 or 2 years, but consistently for many years. That is an independent forecast. And that's what we believe we will achieve. Not only that, and probably will do better than that.
PolicyBazaar.com पे आपको मिलेगा